You mentioned already you want to make sure you have the fiber where you need it. And if we're helping to build a network with you that requires multi-services and access points in the network, how are you best going to determine where those access points are and what those access points look at? You want to be able to simply plug and play devices or other equipment into that network. And so how are you going to determine where you're going to put those access points?
It gets a lot tougher in this environment than it did residential environment. Residential was pretty easy. You looked up and down that street block and said,
houses.
10 homes there. I can reach them from this location. You know, the distributed split that we've developed with you folks is very cost effective for that environment. You get into this one, and I think it's going to take a while to figure that out. I think a few of these smart cities are going to have to come to fruition, and we'll have to build them and apply what we can learn going forward. I mean, I don't think anybody that says they figured it out probably is lying to you.
This is going to be work in progress for a while.
I think so. I think so. What we're trying to do now is make sure that we've got the infrastructure to support it. You know, we've worked on the push-pull environment. We've worked on our inventory systems that allow us to better utilize the fiber asset. Right now, it's a matter of getting it into Boston and then leveraging that asset, figuring out what would be what can we do better in the next city, and how do we apply different applications to that model.
So when you build a one fiber network, you'll have dense wireless networks that you could offer fixed wireless access on. How are you going to determine how you utilize the fixed wireless access as a service?
Very much like we do today. Again, Fios is a fixed wireless access service, and we've got millions of customers on it, so I would see it being very much the same way. Now, granted, we wouldn't be the incumbent in those locations in many cases, or we wouldn't necessarily have to in our existing Fios area, because if we've got a fiber to the home, you probably don't need radio access. But if you don't have a fiber to that home anymore, or yet, radio access is a great way to go. And if we can deliver the same types of bandwidths, you know, keep in mind that's what 5G is doing for us. Lower latency, but also much higher bandwidth, more spectrum available so we can deliver more bandwidth. To where it actually could be a great, or is going to be a great local access or last mile portion where you don't have to go into a perfect example would be a tall, you know, an apartment building. Today they can be pretty difficult to deal with in many cases because they've already got inside house wiring, they want to reuse it, they've got contracts with somebody else. Some of them have been difficult to get into. Here we're on the outside of the building in the right of way where we're allowed to be, where we've got connectivity, and the customer simply puts an antenna, his device, facing our direction, facing out the south window, please, or the north window. And now we've got that customer connected. Same way with a family home where you're not necessarily digging through their yard, but we're out on the right-of-way where access is a little easier, and that last piece is a radio access. And you know, you can hit multiple locations, you know, not a half a city, but half a city block you can do with an antenna, and we feel that that's a great way to provide the service faster. And then also churn isn't such a big deal if the customer moves around. Oh well, you know, you didn't have a wasted asset.
Do you see in those areas where you don't have fiber to the home and you're offering the fixed wireless service that you might use fiber instead to make that direct connection?
I mean, that's what the trials are all about. So far, we're finding out that it works just fine. You know, it works pretty good, and that capability again gets us there in a faster and more agile environment than it would be to get fiber all the way to that location. Because again, staying out on the right of way and being able to extend that service to multiple customers all at the same time.
So when you do plan to build these networks and offer services, what service level do you intend to offer? Gigabit level speeds on the fixed wireless access?
Yes. Yeah, very comparable, because keep in mind, you know, in any of those locations, or most of those locations, we're likely not going to be the incumbent. They've already got a choice. They probably have three choices. You know, they've got a local ILEC, they've got perhaps a CLEC, and they've usually got a cable company that are all already viable solutions to that, and we want to be not only competitive from a bandwidth perspective, but also from a price perspective. So the challenge is surmountable. We think we can get there.
Are you taking input from from cities that are asking you to come build in their city?
Why, by all means. Sacramento is probably the most recent example, right? We partnered with them to come in and what do they want and what do we want, and then worked out a very, very positive deal, a win-win situation where I think they'll advance the connectivity that they're able to provide their citizens, improve safety, improve usability, access to the city, things of that nature, and in exchange we get to improve how quickly we can do that.
So my understanding there was it was citywide 10 megabit level service. Was that the plan, or is that just the original trial?
That's trials. That's what you got to have. Everybody wants to know what's the minimum and not what's the desire.
Will you build networks that are different, that one city may have a low bandwidth requirement and one may have...
I've never seen a city with a low bandwidth requirement. But yes, I mean, everything it has to be customized, right? I mean, there's no one model going to fit everything. At least not what we've seen so far. Now, fast forward a couple of years, maybe cities will evolve to a point where they're saying, okay, this is a model that works and one that is cost effective, because again, this isn't free for everybody involved. I mean, if you want to provide a better user experience, there's a cost associated with it, and somebody has to bear that cost, and what we're trying to do is share it.
With that in mind, do you see other service offerings that you could provide that will bring more revenue?
Of course. I mean, that's we see it as an opportunity to capture additional revenue.
Do you intend to build out the rest of your incumbent territory the way you're building Boston?
Sure. Anywhere that we're augmenting fiber, anywhere that we're augmenting our network, we go in with the one network concept, one fiber concept that says I want to consolidate all of my existing plant and anything that I augment into the same inventory systems and leverage the same provisioning systems for all services that I offer, rather than building another parallel network. The goal is to consolidate them and leverage that asset against all the services we provide. All right, Bob. Nice talking to you.
You too, Glenn.
All right.
Appreciate the time.
You bet. Have
Great.
a good afternoon.
You too.